In today's video, I'm going to show you how I animated this eagle in OpenToonz. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this is the very first doodle from my sketchbook. And I just did a quick, kind of path of action. I knew I wanted this eagle to kind of fly in, starting far away. And then I just quickly did some mountains. And I kind of liked how they were kind of pointy and kind of made this U shape right here. So then I did some more kind of close-up sketches because I was kind of thinking, how he would come in, look around, see something, and then dive down towards it. And then here are some more sketches. Just trying to work out a little bit more of his design. I was still pretty confident that no matter how his design came out in the animation, I was okay with that. But I was kind of playing with this straight beak and these three feathers on the back of his head, just this straight line, for his head. Thought that was kind of cool, but I think I ended up, yeah, he has more of a forehead, so his eyes can fit in there. And so now let's jump over to OpenToonz. Okay, so here we are in OpenToonz, and I created a background layout. This is just kind of my temporary background, and I like to do this in like a blue pencil. So what I did is I picked out my colors for everything, like the eagle body, eagle head, the rough pencil, the ink brush I was going to use, and I saved this in my studio palette. And so every time I created a column, I could reuse this eagle palette right here, and all the colors would stay consistent. And so once you create all this, you can just drag. If you click this, it says click and drag palette to the studio palette. And I created a folder in project palettes called Eagle Flight, and then shot one and dropped it in there. And on my first frame, so that's my background. And on the first frame, I did kind of a rough path of action. And because I knew I wanted him to end up in the middle of the screen right here and start screen left and come in and fly up. And so I did this all on twos. And see, I have a little bit of hold where you don't see anything down to about 10 frames. So on frame 11, I circled it because that's where I wanted him to actually start coming in. So you can kind of see, and no, I adjusted the final a little bit. So he comes in, and I just kept it really simple. Because I thought it'd be fun to have him come behind one of the mountains and then in front of them. So later I created a separate column for just this mountain peak so he could go behind it. So it comes in. So I'm just trying to work out my timing, and see, I knew down here I ended up at 81, frame 81. And so I'm just holding every drawing for 2 frames. And then I knew I wanted him to come up here. And then I got away from 2 frames and just kind of held, because I knew he was going to stay in this position and kind of flap his wings, looking to, screen right. And then he was going to turn his head at some point and look this direction and keep flapping his wings. And then he's going to look back, change expressions right in here. And then, yeah, that's where he changes expressions. And then he's gonna dive off screen right in through here. Okay, and the total animation is 311 frames long. Okay, so let me go ahead and just play that. It comes in, looks the other direction, and dives off screen. And that was a little fast, that dive off screen. I think, you know, in the final I ended up doing that on ones, a drawing for every frame, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So once my layout was done, let's hide this. I created a new column and did a sketch of just the eagle, like from my sketchbook. This way I could get like his line weights and his colors down and what he was going to look like. And I constantly came back to this drawing, to this column as reference. Okay, and I thought it would be fun to not only do a rig character or a cutout character or frame by frame animation, but also to combine all three of those. So, you know, not cutout or frame by frame, but cutout and frame by frame and pose to pose, or and a rigged character. Okay, not or, but and. Well, that was really as clear as mud, wasn't it? Okay, but that was the idea. So I started with the rigged character first. I broke him apart and I did like, let's come down here, because his rig starts down here at frame 85. Like, I just hit it through this first part of the animation. But if you go into here and we choose the plastic tool, we can see this is the rig I made for his wing. And these are the bones. And so on this first frame, I had, if we go to animate up here, instead of build skeleton, I had just moved the wing down like this and set a key for all of the verts, or the bones. That's what I call them, because these actually move the mesh. And if we scroll down through the animation, I just animated it coming up, and then it switches from the rig character to frame by frame. And so I just deleted these frames of the rig right in here, and then I came back to the rig. And I did that throughout the whole animation. So let me unhide the body, because that was one of the first things I animated. And so the body, it doesn't have a rig on it. I just animated the body moving up. So let me hide the legs. You want to name all your layers, because it can get pretty hairy, like trying to keep track of everything. So this body, I just used the animate tool up here and position. And if we zoom out, you can see this, how the body is kind of rotating and moving. And if we look at our schematic view, you can see I have, here's the body, and then everything's like a child of the body. The head is a child of the body, the eyes are a child of the head, the beak is a child of the head. Because the beak, I switched from drawing to drawing to get different expressions, but they're real subtle. Well, no, they open up. He opens his mouth pretty wide. And the wing meshes, And the wings image is a child of the wings, and same with the legs. Okay, so that's kind of how I set that up. And so now if we go to the legs are a mesh. So if we go to the mesh plastic tool and we switch from animate to build skeleton, you see I just kind of drew them straight, and then I created bones. You have to unlock it. So here's the bones for the legs. And if I go to animate, you can see how the legs move. And the toes can move. I didn't mess a whole lot with weighting, you know, I just kind of left it default. Like the legs come up and they follow the body. And so let me unhide the other wing. The head, I just animated the head moving. It doesn't have a mesh or bones in it. It's just like this. And I flip it on this frame. Oh, and I drew, like I went in here on the head turn. I felt like it just popped. And so I just went in and drew kind of a blur frame, like a smear, you know, boop, where he looks over. The beak, the eyes. Yeah, so it's real quick, but, and then I just switch back to it when you look back the other way. And okay, so I animated the, you know, all of this. And there was a point when he flaps down, I wanted his wings. I wasn't getting the look I wanted with the bones on the wings. So like I said, I just deleted the mesh, and right in here, I just drew the wings and the shapes I wanted. It was just easier, I felt like, than trying to force this rig or create a new rig. Because there was only a few frames, you know. So then I have a column called frame by frame, and it needs to be unhidden, unhide it. And this is where he starts way back here. And again, I just animated it by using the animate tool. See how it's off center and rotated? And he comes up. And so I just redrew him on these frames. I drew him like with his wings down, and he's curving. So this is just kind of like frame by frame. His wings come up, curves around, because there was so much going on. And I wanted his eyes, you know, to look a certain way and stuff. So then right here, I just switched to that rig from frame 84 to 85. So now we're into the rig, and it's not on frame by frame anymore. But then later, I go back to frame by frame down here. So I just drew him in this pose like that. And then on twos, he comes up and he starts dive bombing. And then I went to ones and just animated him on ones, just frame by frame off screen. And this very far right layer is the mountain that he flies behind. know if you can see that. It's getting kind of small on screen, but he flies behind this mountain and he comes up, and then I just clicked right here to not render the meshes of everything that has the plastic tool on it. And that was it. So again, it was, you know, not this way or that way, plastic tool or frame by frame, but and, you know, it's okay to combine whatever you want to do to get the shot you want. So anyway, that was my process, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy animating, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.